Hey T Squad, it's me Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea All Shade Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16 Episode 2 review. So this week's episode picks up where we left off last week with the ladies going upstairs into Shamea's little sitting room, and Shamia asking Drew if she and Dennis are dating, to Drew's shock. Shamia says that, word on the curb is that, they've been going out to the clubs, dressing alike. What is this, 1982? And Drew was like, what? Drew was like, I talked to Porsha about us working together. And Porsha says, no, I was talking to Dennis and he said, can you come to Drew's birthday party? But I just wiped my makeup off, so I didn't come. The next day, you posted a picture, and I was like, she is not looking like herself. She is just like washed. So everybody was like, oh, Lord, not washed. And I was like, are you coming for the girl's looks? Like, really, Porsha? That was mean. But Drew agreed. She was like, I agree, or whatever. She was like, I didn't have any makeup on. And I was like, ma'am, coming for somebody that does or used to do makeup for a living, that is really great at doing makeup, you had on a full face of makeup with highlight and contour. Like, stop. And I don't know if Drew in the beginning thought that Porsha was coming for her for a scene for the show. That's why she was smiling and nodding her head and being so, what's the word I'm looking for, laid back about the situation. Like, she was just like smiling, going along with it. Like, it was giving me very much in her head, like, I'm gonna play along with her. Obviously she coming at me for the show, for us to have a moment. And I don't think it registered until a little bit later on in the conversation. So after that, Porsha was like, the next day I called her and she brought up Dennis. So I'm guessing she brought up Dennis but never got around to the part about them actually working together, because they edited a part out, obviously. So Cynthia says to Porsha, you didn't know they were working together. And Porsha says, no, Drew did not tell me anything at all. But I want to make it clear that I don't care. Now, she makes it clear in her confessional that she don't care nothing about if they dating, if they messing around. She can have them. She don't care. Which, girl, if you care about them filming together, you most definitely would care if they dated. So stop. We're not even about to play that type of game, okay? So Drew was like, I reached out to you many times. And Porsha says, Drew, you sent texts. And Brittany jumps in, aka Nasal B. That's her new name, Nasal B. Because that heifer, she literally talking about some, that isn't something you text. That's not something you text. And Drew was like, it wasn't something I was gonna text. She was like, if you would let me explain, let me finish. It's giving me that she was texting her trying to see like, hey, when are you free for us to talk? Now, I don't understand why this didn't come out in conversation on the day where she was talking to Porsha about how Dennis has been there for her. I don't know why it didn't come out then. Maybe they ended up having to get off the phone. I don't know. But I, in fact, do feel like she should have ran it by Porsha that, hey, I'm working on this album, this project. Dennis wants to work on it with me. How do you feel about that? And from however she responds, that's how Drew decides she wants to move forward. But it's just giving her that courtesy call, a common courtesy call, okay? So Drew tells everybody that Dennis reached out to her people and pitched a very professional pitch about him working with her on music. And she says that I told you on the phone, Dennis has been my angel on earth. With everything I'm going through, we haven't been able to talk. My music has been my therapy. And I asked Dennis, did you get a chance to talk to Porsha? Because I haven't been able to catch up with her because she's been busy. He said, I asked for her blessing and she gave it to me. Dennis has been like a brother to me since we all used to hang out. Mind you, Portia's like, oh, really? That's good for you. Cute for you. Okay. So she was like, Dennis has been like a brother to me since we all used to hang out. He said he needed me to record this song because it's for me and Porsha. He was in the studio and he cried. And Porsha was like, oh, he cried? Really? Oh, he cried. So Drew was like, that man loves you, and I don't want you to ever think for 1 second that I would mess with your baby daddy. And Porsha said, okay, are you done, girl? And I was like, well, goddamn. I was like, why is she being so rude to her? Like, she's trying to explain to you what it is, what it was, or what it is, ho, what's up? Can a good girl need a little da? And it was like, why is she got all this energy? But Porsha was like, you know what my problem is with you? You're a low down, dirty individual. And Drew was like, what? Like, now it clicked in her head finally that, oh, she not playing. This is not just for play for the show to create a moment and a scene. No, she really coming for me. And that's when you could tell, like, it registered in her brain. And so, Porsha says, since this phone call where you said you told me about Dennis, you've done some low down ish to me. I'm here to tell you you're fucking with the wrong one. You messing with the wrong one. And then she was like, is it a producer in here? Can I break the fourth wall? And then the producer was like, break it. Tear the house down. Break the wall down. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what that intro is. Chris Jericho. He was like, go ahead and break the wall down, girl. Break the glass. Do what you need to do. So Porsha was like, you went behind my back and asked Dennis to film with you. And Drew was like, oh, I never. She was like, I never did that. And Porsha was like, he showed me the text messages. So Kenya says to Brit, is that bad? Because she's a whole married woman. And Brit was like, yeah, because that's her baby daddy. So Porsha then says the second part was she called production and told them she was setting up a photo shoot for my company, Go Naked Her. You're an influencer. What are you thinking? Like, you're under contract. And she was like, what? I thought it would be a good thing. But that's not your place to do nothing like that. Like, you're not a business partner. You don't have stake in this company. You're literally just what she hired you for, to be an influencer, to post whatever sanctioned photo shoots that she provided for you. You're there to promote the hair, post pictures, post reels, or whatever. You don't then decide, I'm going to create a photo shoot for this girl's company. Like, that is so out of pocket. You don't do no mess like that. And Drew is smarter than that. She knows better. She has been in the industry since she was a teenage girl. You know better. So Porsha had every right to be upset about that. Because, like, girl, what the fuck is you doing? Like, now you playing with my head top and my business. Like, how dare you? And so Porsha was like, you're an awful effing slimy AB. And I was like, well, Jesus the Christ. Wow. Okay. So Drew is like just taken aback by the whole situation, but she was still keeping it cute. But Porsha was like, Drew, just stop talking to me. Don't say nothing to me or whatever. And I was like, well, that went left really fast and quickly. But here's my thing, though. Even though I agree with Porsha about the Go Naked situation, I do feel like Drew owed her a phone call to say, hey, how do you feel about me doing business with your daughter's father? You know, I know y'all not together no more, but I still want to be respectful of the situation. Let me know how you feel. I think that a conversation was needed. I don't think that it was right for her just to depend on a conversation that Dennis had with her. You're her friend too. Y'all was, good Judies or whatever. Were they best friends? No, but y'all were good Judies with each other for the last several years. You know what I'm saying? So I think that she owed Porsha at least that much. Now, do I think that, like, say for instance, if Porsha would have been like, yeah, I do have an issue with you working with him on music, would she then be wrong to continue to work with him? That's a tricky one, especially because it's just business. And this could potentially help my career. I don't know. And considering the fact that they're not best friends, they are coworkers and they are cool outside the show, I guess it would be wrong if she did continue to work with Dennis, even if Porsha would have said, I don't like it. I guess it would have been wrong. I don't know. That's tricky. What y'all think? Do you think that Drew would have been wrong if Porsha said, no, I don't want you recording with my baby daddy? Would she have been wrong to continue on the business relationship? I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Now, what ain't a tough one for me is the whole filming with my baby daddy situation. That's another thing. Like, why are you pitching scenes to film with my baby daddy and you're not letting me know that? That's weird, because it would be something if she went behind Drew's back and was planning scenes to film with Wreck-It Ralph. Like, come on. Like, that's not cool. It's not cool. So I do agree that Porsha had a right to feel some type of way about those two things. But my thing is with Porsha is that y'all was supposed to be cool. Why didn't you have a one-on-one conversation with her? And talk to her instead of cussing her out and calling her out her name and all of that. Because it's obvious that's not the energy that she was giving to you. And if y'all were supposed to be friends in real life outside of this show, I think that you at least owed her that and the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just going in on her. But that's Porsha for you. And remember, I have been saying, I wonder how things are going to play out between Porsha and Drew now that she's back on the show. And, she ain't really got Marlo and Sheree around her anymore. And now the fact that Kenya and Drew are cool with one another. I was saying to y'all, I wonder how their dynamic is going to be now, because we all know Porsha is all about Porsha. So to me, it wasn't anything shocking and new. It was basically Drew getting what Porsha has gave to several other women on this show, which is her ass to kiss. Yeah. So we're introduced to Angela and Charles. They get their full introduction package. We learned that they actually met each other at a party years ago and that they exchanged numbers, but he never called her. So he never called. They never saw each other until 10 years later when they both lived in the same building. And they linked up again. They, fell in love, got married. She has a 24-year-old daughter from a previous relationship by the name of Amari. She got an 11-year-old son by the name of Avon, I believe, or Avian. I think Avan, something, I can't remember. And Charles has a son by the name of Charlie Jr. And then they together have a 7-year-old daughter by the name of Arlie. And we learned that Angela owns a financial consulting company and is a self-made millionaire. And, they got a, little cute camaraderie going on. Cute little relationship. He's a smart ass, obviously. She gets him. It works for her. Cool. But something is telling me about this relationship that it's going to be a situation where he probably talks to her crazy. And it's going to be a thing where the viewers going to be going in on it. At the reunion, she going to be crying. And Andy going to be asking her, did you realize that, he doesn't talk to you the right way? He doesn't treat you the right way. It's going to be one of them type of situations. Watch what I tell you. The signs is already there. Now, mind you, Charles Oakley is known for being a smartass. That's what he is literally known for in the NBA, his mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be one of her issues this season is her marriage. Watch. But overall, she looks great. Later on in the episode, she said that she almost 60 years old. Baby, she make me want to get it together. She make me want to, you make me better. Like, she looks fantastic. Gotta give it to the lady. She is a stunner. So Kenya and Porsha meet up. This was from the epic photographs that we saw the day that they filmed this last year. They both were dressed to impress. They both pulled up in their Rolls Royces that they got in 2022, and it was just giving rich black girl realness. And I loved every minute of it because it showed a full circle moment from season 6 10 years ago, when we were first introduced to Porsha and Kenya and how they initially met and beefed for years and years and years. Okay. And it's good to see that they're in a good place. They're still in a good place to this day, but I don't expect much from Porsha. I'm just going to be honest with you, because we saw how she snaked her the last time when they tried to get cool after they had their kids. So I don't expect much from Porsha. I just don't. They have lunch and they discuss the Drew situation of it all. And Porsha tells Kenya that she just doesn't want it to be a situation where Dennis films anything that may compromise their co-parenting relationship. And I get that, because we've seen how it can go real left between the two of them. We all remember that spinoff reality show that she had where they literally had a physical altercation on camera. So yeah, it can go way left, okay, between the two of them. And that's an honest thing for her to say. And I think that Drew would have understood that if she just said that to her instead of calling her out her names and all of that type of stuff. So Kenya asks, how did she and Simon get to the place that they're in right now? And Porsha get the line making up all these damn excuses, talking about he was lying to her about stuff she ain't know. Girl, we're not about to even go there. I'm not going to waste my breath with this lying ass heifer when it comes to this man, because I could care less. You knew what the fuck you was getting yourself into and you didn't give a goddamn. So, hey, I don't care neither. But we do learn that she is this man's 5th wife. Girl, what did you expect? Wife number 5? And he was only married to Fallon for what, 2 seconds too? Like, girl, get out of here. Stop. Then she's talking about how she was over her mama house one day and she saw him on the Ring cameras in the house or whatever with women. And I was like, could care less. That's what you get. So Kelli visits her second Nana's location that she plans to have open within a month's time. But her project manager is like, girl, I don't know how you think we gonna get this done, but it ain't happening. But she is determined to get it on and popping. And she also lets us know that she is not receiving any child support from her ex-husband unless it's court ordered. So basically she's taking care of their girls on her own. Brit, aka Nasal B, like I said, we get to see her at her home. Beautiful house. She says that she met her husband Mike because she was his insurance agent or whatever, and that, you know, they got to dating and everything and fell in love, and that they got married in a courthouse during the pandemic. So now they're planning an actual ceremony. She doesn't want to have a big old tada, but she does want it to be, you know, something, you know, elegant, really classy, flashy, all of that little stuff, but she doesn't need it to be big and over the top. So they pop open a bottle of champagne, and it blew me when they got the toast in and they clanked them champagne flutes together and they was plastic. And I'm like, Nasal B, you can't be walking around here talking about you got a 10-carat ring and all of this stuff, and you up here drinking out of plastic dollar store champagne flutes, ma'am. Like, come on. You can get a nice champagne flute set, because I've gotten them from people for gifts from Tiffany's for about a good $200. Set of 2. Beautiful. No excuse. So they're working on building a new house or whatever. And she has her mom there, and she talks to her mom about selling her home so she can come live with them. So when they have a baby, she can be there to help her with the baby and everything. Now, mind you, her husband already has a son that's like a teenager, but he wants to have a daughter. The mama want her to have a baby and everything. And yeah, you know, her husband had a, a little sense of humor, a little smart mouth or whatever. I like their dynamics from what I'm seeing thus far. So Shamia visits her surrogate Shadina at her office, and we learned that she met her through Candy, and I had totally forgot about that connection. And so we get the backstory about how Shadina owns her surrogacy clinic with Dr. Jackie, and I was like, Jackie over here getting that money, okay? And she was the one that offered to be Shamia's surrogate, which was a huge thing, like, because she got her own family of her own and everything. But unfortunately, while she was pregnant with Shamia's daughter Shiloh, she found out that she had a very aggressive case of breast cancer. So they had to get the baby out of her immediately, because of course she was going to have treatment and everything else. And so they both are feeling like it's their fault. Shamia feels like it's her fault because, this woman carried her baby for her, and, maybe her daughter is going through these things because of the cancer or something. And, the Shadina lady is feeling the same exact way. Like maybe Shiloh's disadvantages are her fault. And it was just a sad thing to see. But thankfully, she's better. She got a mastectomy. She got new boobs and everything. And we also learned that Shamia had just recently had an ectopic pregnancy. And she was really excited about it because she has done 7 rounds of IVF in the past, and it's been really hard for her to get pregnant on her own. So she was really excited about this pregnancy, and unfortunately, it didn't last. But she does let it be known that she does have 4 embryos left. She got 2 in Atlanta, a boy and a girl, and a boy and a girl embryos out in LA. So hopefully, prayfully, she will get another baby because her husband wants to have another child or whatever. But that was really enlightening and just wild. It was wild because even the lady Shadina was saying that she don't think that she would have been doing self-checks as much if she hadn't have been pregnant. So once again, you guys, coming from a breast cancer survivor myself, get your boobs checked. Get your yearly mammograms. Do your self-checks at home. The best way to do your self-checks at home, lady, is to lay on your back. Lay on your back. Raise this hand up if you're going to check this boob. Lay on your back and feel all around your breast area. Feel all around, get all up in there, and do the same thing on the opposite side. When you lay on your back, you have a better access to your full breast, better than just standing up. And that's actually how I found my lump in my breast. I felt it on my arm one day when I was in the bathroom about to brush my teeth, and my arm rubbed up against the side of my boob, and I felt a lump. But when I was standing up and did a self-check, I couldn't find it. But then when I laid down and did a self-check, I felt it. So remember that. But Nasal B visits Kelli at Kelli's home. She has a beautiful house as well. And we find out that they've been friends for about a year at that point. And I was like, I knew they hadn't been friends that long. I knew it. Brit, we find out once. Oh, I already told y'all about how she got married and all of that type of stuff. So Brit makes a comment to Kelli about, you ain't gotta worry about me showing up 4 hours late. Talking about how Porsha arrived several hours late for Shamia's birthday party. And then here go Brit bringing up Kenya again. She got a hard on for this lady. So I'm saying, what was that about Kenya bringing up my ring? Like, you don't see this 10-carat ring? Like, she was trying to be shady. Like, you need to worry about your own divorce. Don't worry about me and my ring. And it's like, girl, you was being shady when you up talking some. How many people are divorced? You're divorced. You're divorced. You're divorced. You're divorced. All of y'all are divorced, aren't you? What's going on with your divorce? And it's like, girl, Once again, y'all see, Kenya ain't the issue. Kenya's not the issue. She was even talking to her when everything was going down with the Porsha and Drew situation, but she keep on harping on this ring thing. She wanted to come into the season having a problem with Kenya. She started all of this. She started it. So Kelli then reveals that her ex-husband actually took $500K out of their business account. She had to take him to court to try to get her money back. And she says that she had to move out of their marital home because it had gotten really bad to the point where it got physical. She said that she was living in a hell house to the point where, like, there were nights where she had to sleep in her closet. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what was going on over there in that crib? Like, it was wild. Remember last year I did a whole story about how when the police was called because she allegedly got into like a physical altercation with his oldest daughter. Like, it was a mess. It was a mess. So then Drew goes to work out with Angela. And Angela tells her that she herself was wondering like why she was working with Dennis. And Drew says, it's a business relationship. And if Porsha had said no, that she would have had to reevaluate it. And Drew begins to cry when she talks about Ralph and says that her divorce has been just a lot on her and that this ain't about messing around with Dennis or nothing like that. This is about her, basically keeping a roof over her head for her and her daughter. Her and her children or whatever. So she just trying to keep her head above water. She says that Ralph has taken large portions of her money out of her account. He's asking for alimony and pieces of her business and everything. So I get that. I get that 100% because these men are not playing no games, y'all. They are not playing games no more. Like, it used to be frowned upon back in the day for a dude to be trying to get alimony and child support and lump sum settlements and all of this stuff. These new breed of men, they do not care. They trying to get any and everything that they can out of these women. Man, forget a ring. We'll have a little spiritual ceremony before I sign any contract with any man because these dudes are going for the jugular and trying to take everything. I refuse, okay? Refuse. And Ralph looked like the type that would do that. Most definitely. So Drew said, Shamia arrives. And they exercise and then they sit down and talk. And Drew says that Dennis got Ralph and Porsha's blessings to work together. And Angela asked Shamia why she questioned Drew the way that she did in front of everybody and says that, it was a shock that she asked the question for Porsha. And Shamia was like, I asked it for me, not for Porsha. And Drew said, like, girl, bye, damn well you asked that for Porsha. Now, question, do y'all think that Shamia asked that for herself because she wanted to be nosy? Or do you think she basically gave Porsha the alley-oop like they planned it, like you bring it up and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to finish it? What y'all think? I personally think that Shamia and Porsha had plans to bring this up together. I do because Shamia already had the screenshot in her phone when she showed Drew the phone of the picture of her and Dennis at the club. Like, she already had a screenshot and ready to show her. You know what I'm saying? I think that they tag team together. So Shamia says, when I talked to Porsha about it when no one else was around, and then Angela cuts her off and was like, at the party, I was there. That's why I'm bringing it up. Like, I ain't trying to hear nothing about what y'all talked about when nobody else is around. I want to hear about what was said when we all was there. And so Shamia was like, if you would let me speak, like, because I was talking to Drew, I wasn't talking to you. So they get to going back and forth. And I was like, well, wait a minute here. This got awkward really fast. Like, what happened? And so they get the bickering and Angela is like grilling her. And she says that Shamia is being Porsha's assistant. And I was like, ooh, well, this then went real left. So the seed has already been planted for them not to get along with each other off rip. It is a rift between Shamia and Angela. Also this season, we're going to see Shamia and Drew going at it. And as of right now, in present time, present day, none of the ladies are feeling Brit at all. None of them. Kenya, of course, ain't feeling her. Shamia ain't feeling her because Shamia says that later on in the season, Brit is going to say something derogatory about her daughter, Shiloh. Her and Kelli have fallen out with one another. I don't know where her and Angela stand. I think even Cynthia says she don't really care for her as well in an interview here recently. So yeah, Kenya might have really been on to something when it comes to Miss Brit. But as of right now, we're just going to focus on what's being said and done in these episodes. So they end up leaving. And at the end of the episode, Porsha and Dennis take Pilar to this little play place for kids. And she sits down with Dennis and she asks him about the Drew situation. And Dennis was like, we working together. And so Porsha was like, you say business, but Drew in front of our crew said something completely different than business. She said you were her Lord, Jesus, Savior, Christ, Lazarus, and the Latter-day Saints. And I'm like, now, wait a minute. What she mean she told a totally different story than what he's saying? Like, huh? Am I missing something? I'm like, nah, you ain't missing nothing. Porsha lying. Putting 10 on 20. And exaggerating. And I'm like, why are you doing it when this was filmed, ma'am? Like, you act like they can't run the tape back. She didn't, huh? I was so taken aback that she sat up there and bold-faced lied. I was like, what is going on? So Dennis was like, Drew is going through a divorce with my homeboy and I'm seeing what you got going on. And Porsha say, what do I have to do with it? And Dennis say, you have 16 marriages on TV. And I have to see all that. We had some similar things that we could create music on. I told her she should have a conversation with you. So Porsha was like, she really is saying something different than what you're saying to me right now. And Dennis says, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but if she could promote her music on the show, like, why not promote her music on the show? Like, I agree with that. Like, this is her vehicle to promote any businesses that she got going on. But Porsha was like, you would film with her on this? Why? Why would you do that? So Pilar ends up interrupting them and Porsha ends up getting upset and getting up and walking away crying. And so she's talking to production and she says, I could just never have support. Imagine if we got into it and we fell out and we ain't speaking and he uses my platform against me. I don't need anything else. I'm literally trying. And so it's like, I understand what she's saying, but this is a bunch of what ifs, what could possibly happen. But I don't see him doing that to her. I don't see Dennis trying to spray her like that. You know what I'm saying? Or using his platform to get back at her. I just don't see it. I just think that Porsha feels some type of way. I think that Porsha is very much concerned about Dennis and Drew spending time with one another because of her own guilt of the things that she's done to other women in the past. That's where this whole thing stems from. So production, it was like, why don't you just tell him that? And she was like, I don't want him to see me cry. He's not worth my tears and this, that, and the third. 20 minutes later in the parking lot, they're in the car, but they're still mic'd up. And we hear Porsha say, if you show up on these cameras with anybody else, it's going to be a problem. And she was like, another damn housewife looks absolutely insane. And I said, I know you lying. I know that ain't the pot calling the kettle black. So it's okay for you to literally go behind another housewife's back, fuck her husband, and marry him. But you're mad at Drew for recording music and filming with your baby daddy? Yeah, that's guilt, my love. That's guilt, insecurity, and jealousy. Because no way did you let that come out your mouth. And so Dennis was like, you tripping, like we just working with each other. And Porsha was like, do what you do. And what you do is going to mark how this happens. And he was like, mark how what happens? And she was like, it's going to mark how this looks with your daughter. And I'm like, okay, so now you bringing y'all daughter into it and like basically threatening him in so many words. She was threatening him. And I didn't like that because Pilar ain't got nothing to do with this. Pilar ain't got nothing to do with him or doing music with this girl or nothing. You need to be worried about how you present yourself to the world and how it's going to affect your daughter. Okay? Like Porsha blew me with that one. Blew me with that one right there. And she had all the nerve in the world to be sitting up here talking about filming with another housewife. Girl, you fucked this whole girl husband and y'all was cool with one another. Were y'all best friends? No, but you were still cool with her. You still spent time with her outside the show, been to this woman house and everything else under the sun. If you don't get out of here, girl, bye. But I'm going to give this week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm going to give this week's episode a B+. It was a good continuation. They're still on a good run right about now. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Next week's episode looks like it's going to be crazy. Looking very forward to it. And on next week's episode, we're going to see Brit steady drilling this thing about this ring in Kenya, child. Ugh. Girl, pressed like a panini. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode down below in the comment section. Please make sure to thumbs up this video and hit that notification bell button so you know my videos drop. I love you guys and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.